got a bike. It's our first scooter of Europe.
Do the horn!
Oh, I'm sorry. And it's probably the slowest scooter I've ever driven. It's 50 cc's and with 2 people on it going up a hill. And we're doing, I'll tell you miles per hour because it's actually marked. We're doing 25 miles an hour. Which is not really moving. And I don't know if this thing is shifting or not. Like the engine is like really, really high. So we're like, is there something wrong with it? But I don't think so. I think it's just a piece of crap.
It smells bad.
Once that hill started to get even steeper, we were down to like 13 miles an hour or so. But let me show you who our bike is here. This is a, we don't even know who made it. It just says Typhoon on it. And it's got like this military style, like, style. I don't even know. But I really like over here that it's like no signal. And then it says max speed. Which is interesting branding for such a creature. You excited about this little curvy road?
I'm excited about the curvy road going down, but the back up, I'm a little worried that we won't be able to make that.
How long do you think it'll take you to walk up here as I scoot up the hill? You think you'll go faster than me though, on foot?
No, once I get my big booty off that thing, it'll just fly by.
That's the first time I've had to use the brake.
We've got a map, and those are always really helpful to show where we are, where we came from, and where we're trying to go. Currently, we're right here in Komiza, which is probably mispronounced, but that's all right. Komiza is where we are now. We came from this town. So even on our shitty little scooter down this lovely little windy road, took about 20 minutes, not too long. That's the entire island almost. And then one thing that we're trying to do in the future is take a boat out to an island over here called Bisevo. I'm totally ruining that. And I've tried, I've listened to it so hard and it just does not lock in. On this island there is a blue cave that we'd like to visit. Don't know if we're gonna get to do it because the weather doesn't seem to want to line up too well for us. But that's one of the aims that we're trying to do. And we're seeing, how do you do it? Asking people about how do you get on a boat and get over there. And so far, no boat.
I mean, there's tons of boats.
None of them want to be my friend. So looking at the map earlier that we looked at, it might not look like the island of Bisevo over there is close to us, but it is quite close. It's not very far away at all. So we kind of thought maybe today we could go over there, but we were told by the people that the boats aren't going over there because there are southeasterly winds that are causing waves to crash onto the island right where the cave opening is. And in the distance you can see white right at the edge where the island starts, and that's where we would be trying to get into a cave. And nobody's going into the cave right now because it's dangerous. And so we're just scooting around looking for things to do now.
This island of Vis does rely on tourism, but it's a big part of their industry, but I don't think that's the predominant way that they make money here. As you drive outside of the 2 little tourist towns that are the tourist hubs and where everybody arrives and everything, and it's where the biggest population area is, you get outside of them and you have things like this. And this is just a bunch of places where people are growing things as farms. It is olives, it is vineyards, and it is different things of that nature. And it seems to me that it's still a pretty predominant part of the way that the island's economy functions.
We left the city and I kind of thought that we'd find a convenience store. We have not found a convenience store. I think we're at the only restaurant within at least 10 miles. There's the one restaurant. And I just went inside. I was like, do you have cake? Because it's fika. Gotta find cake. And she said, we have one cake. And I said, that'll be the cake that I'm having. And it is Carob Cake, C-A-R-O-B. and I'd never heard of this, but it turns out that it's an alternative to chocolate that has kind of a fudge texture, I guess. I haven't bitten it into it yet. That's what I found out on the internet. And the internet also says that carob is native to the Eastern Mediterranean, and it was planted in Italy and Greece, and we're kind of in the middle of there, so it makes sense that you would be finding this here, and that this is something here. And that's why that's the only cake here. Okay. I think the top part is the carob part, and the bottom part is just a cake. Holy crap. It is definitely a chocolate substitute. It tastes darker than what we would think about for chocolate. It tastes like you took a whole bunch of the chocolate chips that your mom uses for baking and just shoved them in your mouth. That's exactly what it tastes like. The cake underneath, hard to tell what it was. But that's a fika to remember, I can tell you that now.
He quite nailed the taste of the the chocolate substitute. Somehow it's not chocolate, but it does taste like a bunch of those super dark chocolate baking chocolate chips. And we've been trying to investigate into what we think the bottom part is, and it doesn't have a lot of flavor to it. It just sort of tastes like a pie crust. It's not really sweet, but maybe a little sweet, and it tends to taste a little fruity. And we found like a raisin inside. So like, I don't know what's going on the bottom, but it's a fairly good mixture, I think. Like, I don't know.
Nothingness and chocolate?
Nothingness and chocolate, yeah, that's all right. But the chocolate is not chocolate. What is this? You're pointy. Why are you pointy? Don't be a jerk. Comes over here for fun, and then just like, cats are weird, man. Yeah, see? You're into it. Me too. These roads are not okay on these little scooters. Like, it can do it, and I'm sure like if you drove it every day, you'd know every bit, right? But like when you first go down, this road quite long, like many kilometers, and it took us, it felt like to me an hour, but it was probably like 10 minutes. And it's just like really tough on your hands because you're like squeezing the brakes the whole time, and there's all these different like rocks that are different sizes. Like you have these big things like this, and you've got this little stuff, and you got the stuff in the middle, and the bike reacts differently depending on what it is you're hitting, and sometimes it just slides through it, and it's like it makes you pucker like super tight. And I'm not that excited about going back up that, to be completely real with y'all, but we are going to take a break, and the bike is going to chill here, and we are going to go see if we can find a thing. Something that has surprised us both is the center part of the island, right, has got like a paved road that goes around the inside of it. It's like the highway, right? Like the highway. And then it has all these little pieces that come off and go down towards the coast and go through these mountains and stuff like what we're in right now. And I've seen them as we've been driving, and they all look basically like this. So they are maintained because they put like rock down somewhat recently, and it's not like overgrown with bushes and stuff, but they aren't sealed. So again, for the motorbike, those roads aren't going to be that much fun, but they bring you down towards the coast, which is super beautiful. And we were surprised because we came down here, and there's just like, there's a building here, and it looks like a house that hasn't been quite finished. But there's somebody at some point was like, yeah, we're going to put stuff down in this little cove. I wonder if it's for sale. It's not just one building, it's a little village. I'm getting the feeling that nobody lives here just because of this, and there's no other vehicles or anything. So is it an abandoned village? Is it just a village that gets people come to in the summer? Like what? Gonna find that for sale sign. All right, so here's the edge of this little village. I'm gonna spin around for you so you can see what they got going on here. This amazing little like lagoon cove thing. The world is amazing. So the reason we came down here is because Katie saw a cave on a map that she thought we'd be able to get to, but it turns out we may have come down the wrong road. So what Katie is doing right now is climbing up these rocks in the hopes that she can get to the neighboring little cove where there might be a little cave we can check out. We're just walking along a path that goes along this little peninsula, trying to get to the other side. A bush almost smacked me in the eyeballs. And the watercolor that we're above off this cliff is astonishing.
I think the cave is right there. I'm not sure because I can't see in there. But you gotta go across this. Or climb up over here. We haven't figured out what to do yet.
How slippery is it?
Not slippery.
You're gonna get washed out to sea, my friend.
The sea was angry that day.
Man, just after she went across, everything started getting more violent. And now I'm stranded over here on this side trying to figure out how I'm gonna cross this with not only myself, but also like the camera and all of the gear that we have and everything in my bag. I mean, if I got wet, whatever, but like I'll dry off and be all right, but the camera, it probably wouldn't load quite as well. All right, here we go. No, 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 no. Oh God. Let's see. It's kind of gone out. Maybe this time. Damn it. I think I might be going above. That might be a safer route. I can't believe she just, like, she just wasn't on it and just walked across like it was nothing. The gambling girl. A part of me wants to like count it like music, like 1 and 2 and 3 and go, but that's not the way that nature works, really. Okay, 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 okay. Oh, go higher. Woohoo!
No cave yet. Just wasn't it. Somewhere down in there. When we got off the bike, we walked along these rocks right here. We found nothing. So we decided to come back all the way around and come down this little peninsula right here in hopes to see the cave that's on the other side. We do see some deep pockets over on that side, but any cave that's over there would be only accessible by boat. So maybe we shouldn't let cave images on the map trick us into thinking we're a boat. We are not a boat.
Walking out along this rock is actually pretty easy. It's just like the levels, it's like steps, like you're just going up and down steps, and it's so porous that there's a tremendous amount of grip that you get, even out of shoes that aren't at all made for climbing on things. So it's actually a fairly pleasant thing. You're going up and down, and there's this tilt that's going on that just sort of like holds you against it in a weird way. Like gravity is helping you out quite a lot in this case. It's been I like these little rocks, man. This is fun climbing.
Yeah.
We saw some goats like way off in the distance earlier, like going up and down some of these rocks. And
they probably like the rocks.
They probably like the rocks too. Maybe I'm part goat.
I think so. Earlier when we were walking along this area, we walked through the woods above the cave, completely missing the cave. And on the beach we couldn't see the cave because it was kind of around the corner. Here it is. And even when we went out to the peninsula, we were looking far off in the distance, like, oh, it's way over there. We weren't even looking directly to our right. It was sitting right there. We found it. Still, you would need to either be swimming into there or take some sort of kayak or something to go into the cave. But the water is just a little too vicious for that, and that's fine. This is magical enough looking from right here.
So like, I think even if we had a boat, we wouldn't be getting in that cave right now because of like the size of the waves that are happening behind us and the size of the waves that are happening into those caves looks not like boating fun. Looks like not happy good times. No. These purple like weeds that are growing up on the side and through the middle of this walking path, they're kind of all over the island, and they are like razor sharp. Even through my pants and stuff, if I walk by them and they rub my leg, I feel like I'm just being like cut by razor blades. It's just not a very pleasant guy. I'm trying to avoid one right now. Look at me go, I'm on a motorbike. Is it going? We saw this sign, and we have got a thing now for locally made wines, which makes me sound like the snobbiest person in the world. But this sign, it says like this place is making wine and olive oil and all sorts of stuff. So we just kind of went down this road over here and like kind of like followed some signs, and then this guy was standing up on the top of this house, and Katie was like, "Wine?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then his wife came out, and his wife spoke like pretty like excellent English. And we sat there with her for probably pushing an hour or so, just chatting about her life and how she had kids and all this stuff and how she's a grandma now and talking about her life on the island and like a lot of stuff. And they were giving Katie wine to taste and stuff. And we've got 2 bottles of wine in the back now. So it was pretty cool. And it's nice because she was explaining to us like he makes all of this stuff. And she was showing us like their house and like how it's built of bricks. And she was like, yeah, he built it all and he made the bricks. Like he pounded stone and stuff to build this house and stuff. It was insane. She was just telling us all this stuff about how hard it is to live on the island and like it's, you know, kind of a difficult life compared to living in the city and stuff. Really cool experience. And I haven't had any of this wine yet because obviously, but I am quite looking forward to it at this point because I'm interested to see what this master brick building winemaking dude from Vis has put into a bottle for us. Hold on to your titties, it's gonna get cold. Well, maybe not, we're gonna be going so slow. Day 2 with our motorbike exploring Vis, and we have come to a little peninsula, and the reason that we came to this little peninsula is because we were hoping to go out to the tip of it and have a lunch at a little lighthouse. And we ended up parking a bit far back where the road ends and it turns into a footpath. And when we parked, there's this like beautiful view of this cove, and the watercolor is just like this insane color of turquoise and blue and clear and all the perfect mixtures of watercolors that you all hope for. And then we went off through the footpath, and it's quite a bit of a footpath, probably about 15-20 minutes of a walk to get down to the end. And we were like, okay, hey, there's the lighthouse. We're gonna get out to the tip and we're gonna be by the lighthouse, get a look at it and have a nice view, and we brought a picnic and everything. And we got up to the lighthouse and there's a sign that's like, no coming in here, like it's a restricted area. And they've also got this super fierce sign of this, like, you know, beware of dog. We were like, okay, that sells it. We're definitely not going over there. We're not gonna get this dog ripping us up.
Did the chicken scare you off as well?
Yeah, we heard a chicken on distance as well. And I was like, the chicken means there's somebody there probably. Like somebody's feeding that chicken. Somebody's making sure that chicken can chicken around. So like, let's just write off the lighthouse altogether. So we're gonna head back and find someplace shady to sit and hopefully have our picnic there. But as you get out near the lighthouse, you start seeing these things, these poles. And I don't know what they are really. Like, there's nothing out here. There's no houses or anything. There's just a lighthouse that has one electrical line that runs to it, and then these things. And if you look down at the ground, you can see that there's actually concrete over the lines and stuff going into them. So somebody has gone to quite a bit of trouble to make this a fairly permanent structure. And there's like a box in the middle that is like covered up with concrete and rocks and stuff to make it like, you know, strong and like solidified. So like, what are these? And then when you get closer to the lighthouse, there's more of them run along in a line. Is this, my best guess is that this is some sort of like communication systems to ships. And maybe it's like pinging out to ship's GPS and stuff that's like, yo, there's land here, don't come over here, blah, blah, blah. So it's like some sort of like high-tech version of a lighthouse or something. But that's just a complete like guess in the dark based on location and the fact that it looks a bit like a transmission device or something. If anybody knows what these are, like hit us up in the comments and let me know, because I'm just really curious at the moment.
We found a boat bunker. This boat looks like it's ready for some apocalyptic type thing. So we're just tuckering in with it. We got our sandwiches that should last us maybe an hour. I don't think we're gonna survive if something goes down, but we're gonna have an enjoyable meal, and then the end of the world will come and we'll deal with it. Straight talk, we were riding down the road and we'd gone into a whole bunch of little coves with little beaches and little like deserted towns, and I was thinking like, maybe there's nothing to do today. And then out of the corner of my eye, I just saw some people playing a game. I don't know what game they were playing. I don't know if they were Croatian or whatever. I was just like, let's go find out what they're doing. So we went down there, and actually turns out it's a bunch of teams that have come from the UK, from Czech Republic, from Zagreb, and they're all here to play cricket. And so sat down next to a guy who had actually gotten a ball straight to the eye, and he explained how to play cricket to us. And now I kind of know how to play cricket a little bit, and it's exciting. I want to go and watch some more games. Not today, since we have other things to do, but yeah, just pull over on the side of the road, go find out what people are doing, and you'll get to have a nice glass of wine and hope you don't get hit in the face with a cricket ball.
Very good batsman, good bowler, and good shot.
We've come to Steneva, and we've been to a lot of random beaches, so I am expecting a lot from Steneva, because what I've heard from our Airbnb person and also from some random info agency place, this is where you must go. So this beach is going to be amazing, like outstanding. I don't know, but it's already piquing my interest. Descend at your own risk. Are we gonna survive this?
I don't know, is this pie gonna survive?
This will be the thing that, like, above all, I will be dying and just holding the pie to you like, Fika, you must! Alright, it's beautiful. Really beautiful. Like, the way that the rocks come together in the middle and just barely meet enough to get a small boat through, and the people down there are definitely looking like they're having a good time jumping into the water. But the layers of jacket and heat tech that I have on right now are not going to be real sexy on the beach. So, I don't think we need to go down and sunbathe or whatever. So we've gotten ourselves a lovely little, would this be an aerial view? Is this an aerial view?
Pretty good, yeah.
We've just got a nice view of it. We got a pie, we got some drinks. and we're just gonna relax and watch these people enjoy themselves as the sun slowly moves out of the water. I'm almost certain that water is ice cold. So yeah, we've got a good little bird's eye view.
Rock walls on the sides of the hill here is a very distinctive feature, and you see them all over the island. But in this case, in this area at the foot of the base of the tallest peak on the island, there is a hill that is covered in rock piles. And we think that maybe these are here so they could then spread these out and make more rock walls. But how the hell did this get here? Because this is like out in the middle of nowhere, and it's a hell of a lot of rocks. And there's another one there, and another one there, and another one there, and there's a ton of them up here. So our best guess, and this is not educated at all, is that maybe these were brought here by helicopter? Because I don't know how the hell else somebody would get a pile of rocks this big out here on the side of this hill. It doesn't make any sense. Side note, there's a lot of snakes in these rocks. Beautiful, man. As you cruise along the coastline, you're going up and down these mountains and stuff and over these hills, and you're seeing this incredible scenery just over and over and over. Every corner is just jaw-dropping. And I mean, just this view of the ocean, and there's another island out there with a bunch of clouds around it, and the sun of God is shining down over it, and it's just like magnificent. And then you come around a corner and you find this. And this is where they're throwing their trash away on this island, and it's just kind of on the side of a hill, and it's just sort of spilling down the side. And this is not just like the locals are coming and just dumping their trash here. This is the official place. There's like a gate, and there's like a dude there like checking to make sure that you're supposed to be dumping your trash. Like, this is where the government is like, this is where the trash goes here. And like, when I saw this at first, I'm really conflicted about this, because it is disgusting. Because it is sort of falling down the hill, and it looks like it's possible some of that could make its way into the ocean, and then it ends up all over the world, right? So like, that is an assumption that it's happening, and maybe it's not. Maybe they've got something that's containing it in this region or whatever. But I feel like at the same time, like where I'm from, like there's a big place where people go and they dump their trash. It's just not this beautiful. So it doesn't stick out as much. It's just, you know, this place in Virginia, it's the dump. So to the people that live here, this is the dump. And like, it's horrible looking, but what the hell else do you do with your trash? Like, what else is the system? Like, you can pack it all and put it on boats and ship it out, and like, can they afford to do that? Like, does the government have those kinds of funds? And I don't know, it's really complicated. I mean, I really wish this wasn't happening. It's really dreadful looking, but I don't know if like the infrastructure exists to have anything else. And I mean, we as people continue to use trash. Everybody is guilty of this to a certain degree. But yeah, it's a bit shocking to come around the corner and just like, you're like, oh, well, there's humanity in all of this beauty, and it's not good.
It was in there.
You were saving that for the record
It was
button.
not. It was not saving that. Okay. Anywho. We're going into the cave, and he just told us to put our heads down and keep our hands inside the boat. This is more intense than I expected.
Okay, heads down, heads.
Here? One of the main tourist draws to coming to the island of Vis is getting off the island of Vis and going over to this island here that is in the background. Do you know the name of the island? Bishovel. And the reason that you go over there is because they've got this little cave that's really famous, and it's called the Blue Cave. And I went in blind. I had no idea what this was going to be. So it turned out pretty remarkable. And it was a bit tricky to get over there. One, because when we were first here, the weather was too crazy and the waves are slamming up against the rocks and stuff. And like, I kind of understood why that would stop you from getting in there. I super understand now. And then two, you got to talk to a bunch of people and they don't tend to know how.
We talked to several people about how to go about getting over to the Blue Cave, and I'm gonna lay out how we did it so that people in the future who want to go, they'll have a better understanding.
And I don't know if this is the cheapest way to do it, but it got us there.
Yeah, we are staying in Vis, and most of the boats go from Komije, which is a different city on the other side of the island.
20 minutes by slow motorbike.
20 minutes by slow motorbike. You can take a bus.
5 minutes by car.
You can take a bus. You can also take a car. All of that's going to be on your own monies, however you decide you're going to do it. Once you get to Komije, we talked to an agency, Blue Cave Tours, which turned out very well, so would highly recommend them. They're going to charge you 100 kunas a person to take you over to Bishevo and back. Okay, that does not include the cave at all. That is just a transport over to that island and back, and a little bit of a tour on the way. 10 minutes
or something.
Yeah, it's about 10-15 minutes each way. Then once you're over on Bishevo, you have to pay per person 70 kuna. That's what we paid. It's off season now.
Per person.
Per person. And I also read that when it is high tourist season, they charge 100 kuna per person to get onto a boat and then head into the cave. And it ended up costing us $340 total for 2 people to go from.
That's 27 USD per person.
Yeah.
And when we started this, I started hearing all these numbers and I was like, man, this is just too expensive. And like, I saw the boat they stuck us on and it's like, you look like you're getting onto a roller coaster ride. Like, this is all set up for tourists, man. Like, I mean, that's cool, but like, you're just starting to think, oh, am I just going to be like in this situation where I'm just going to be crammed with 1 million people and it's going to be this awful experience and stuff? And maybe in the high season, tourist season, that would be what happened. But for us, it didn't turn out that way. So we got over to the other side and they've got like corrals and stuff like at the bank, those things, you know, like at Disneyland in a line, like that's all established and people are like scanning tickets with like electronic readers and stuff. Like it really feels like they are ready for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
they will be calling your number. I mean, our number was 298 or 289 and in the 290s, and I think that's starting from this morning. 200.
But I don't think the people, like when you get over there, you could go with a couple of different groups.
Yeah.
So we just chose the one. I don't know how we chose. We just walked up to the one and then we bought our ticket and stuff. And they stick you on a much smaller boat than what you go across the place in, because this is like a speedboat to get you there pretty quick. But they put you on a pretty small boat and you go around the edge of the island and then you're going along this rocky, like the rocky wall and stuff. And as you roll into the cave, it becomes very obvious why he's telling you to get down as low as you can, because the hole that they have actually used dynamite to blast in the side of this wall so boats can get through is really low. And it's low to the point that they are timing the entrance of the boat into the cave with the waves going up and down. So he's waiting for the like wave to go down a bit so he can push the engine to give you a little bit of a push through this little hole. And it makes me wonder if they've ever messed that up and people have gotten their heads smacked on this wall, because I could see that being a really horrible thing to happen to someone.
It's happened.
And as you go in, it gets dark. He turns the engine off on the boat and he's got this stick that he like walks along the edge and like uses his stick to push off the walls and stuff so that he can navigate the boat back there just by pushing on the walls, literally. And you float back into this little area and it is like borderline the most magical thing I've ever seen in my life.
Hey guys, welcome to the Blue Cave.
Oh my goodness. Okay, turn this way a sec.
And then all of a sudden it gets really, really bright inside. And what's going on is that the sands underneath the cave, like inside of it, are white. And the cave has got an area where light can get in from the other side. So the sun is shining on the ground and it's bouncing off the white sand and coming up through the blue water and illuminating the cave.
Yeah, like once you go into the cave, there's a wall here, and the wall doesn't seem to go all the way to the ground.
Yeah.
And so the sun from the outside hits the sand that's underneath the wall and then illuminates inside the cave.
Like a mirror off the white sand.
And
you just kind of float around, and he tells you a little bit about what's going on, the sizes of the cave, the depth of the water and everything. Yeah, the guy's got all the data.
Okay, the cave length is 24 meters. The height to the ceiling is 16 meters. Depth is around 15 meters. The cave was presented to the public in the year 1884 by the Austrian baron and painter Eugene Rosno. Local fishermen knew for this place for the centuries.
And there's a bunch of little fish and stuff that are going through in little schools.
I saw a jellyfish.
And yeah, there's a little jellyfish, and I don't think I got it on film, but it was like incredible to see him because he lights up too from all the light. Like he is blue. And you float around, and I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 minutes. It really isn't a very long time.
I read that your ticket is supposed to get you 15 minutes in there.
Yeah,
and
no way. Maybe 15 minutes total, like round trip on that little tiny smaller boat or whatever. But yeah, I mean, how much is there to see?
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes in there.
And it floated around in a circle, and everybody was like, "Oh my god," and gawking at it and stuff. And then we went to leave,
and more boats started coming in, and I was just like, I just sat there. There were no words. At this point, it was more impressive that all these boats were coming in than that there was this blue light.
So there was at least 3 boats in there at one time while we were in there. I felt we're lucky though, because when we were floating around in like the opened area where you actually see the blue light and everything, we were the only boat there. But when we were leaving, 2 boats came in, and I'm sure that they were just like staring at each other as they went in little circles because there's not a lot of room in there. So I think we got pretty lucky about that. And I think in high season, that could be, I think it's just like that the whole time. Like, I think we are lucky that we're here early in the year, because I think we got to see it pretty, like, you know, nonchalant in a way. And then you go back out and you have to duck and then wait for the water again, and then you pop back outside the cave. And he actually shows you on the wall where the original entrance was.
And it just looks like a place that people would crawl into it.
Yeah, like maybe even swim underneath of it or something. It's not a very big hole at all, and I can see why they had to blast with dynamite again.
To get a boat in.
To get a boat in there. And then you just go back to the little port on that island, and then you get on your boat and you come back to the port on this island, which is where we are now, on this. And having done the whole thing, like, I think it was probably worth the cost. It's pretty expensive, but I ain't never seen nothing even remotely like that before.
I want to say a good chunk of my money was well spent when he said, duck down.
Yeah.
Put your head in the boat.
It became an adventure. And
that made me really happy.
It was like,
I had like a big smile on my face the whole time that was happening, both times.
I've seen stuff like that at Disneyland. Like, you go into, like, you know, the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. What up? It's the best ride at the park.
It is not the best
and
ride at the
like
park.
You see these things because they've built this thing, and it's like, you know, the water illuminates blue and stuff like that. But it's nothing like seeing it like in nature. Like. Even with like the infrastructure and like on a boat with a bunch of other people and everything, it was still superb.
Yeah. So we saw one of the most beautiful things I've seen today, that blue cave. But this might be one of the most impressive feats I've seen in my life. How'd they get all that on that boat?
We just had a little snack sitting here along the dock, and there's a little town here that's like behind us, and a bunch of little cafes and things like that. And we heard the singing kind of in the distance, and it sounded like a barbershop quartet or something. And after we ate, Katie went in the shop to get a drink or something, and I came over here to check out what the sound was. And there's just these 4 dudes, and they're just sitting here having coffee. And they are, you know, just at this little table right here, and they're singing together, like facing each other and just singing, and it's amazing sounding. And they have got it all nailed down, and one guy's like conducting with his hand and like telling like, okay, that goes up here and goes down, and like they all had this system, and it seems like they had been doing this together for quite some time because they had it all quite perfected. And so I sat down on the bench and I recorded it for a bit, and that's what you're hearing now. And I kind of wish I had video, but it was just one of those moments where like they weren't performers. They were just dudes hanging out together, sitting, having some coffee, and who wants a camera up in your grill like when that's going on? So I got a little bit of audio because I can do that discreetly and it doesn't make anybody feel weird. And then you get to hear about it right now. going up to the highest point today, called Whom, and our scooter is not gonna make it. I'm literally pushing it with my legs. Oh, it's starting to pick up. Oh boy. Kitty's gonna be walking soon.
Yep.
Yep. Oh, hi. You made it.
Just barely.
We still got a ways to go, but it got a little like flatter, so I thought I'd give it a break and wait for you to get here. Give the bike a break to rest. All right, are you ready?
Yep.
Why are you still wearing your helmet?
Because I tend just not to take it off. It is a part of me now.
It's a pretty smooth ride up. Like, it's all paved and everything, and I mean, I didn't have much like hiking or anything I had to do, so it wasn't so bad.
You just hiked up this hill that it couldn't do.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is this. Well, this is yeah. But.
Just keep putting those butts in there with nothing to follow them up.
It wasn't that far. It's like a 2 or 3 minute walk that you have to go up because the road here is like the gravel is really too big for the bike, and I don't want to pop a tire or something. But we've come to the top of Whom, or the mountain next to Whom. I'm not sure exactly how this works geographically, because behind us is a peak that's actually a little bit higher, but it's got a military installation on it, and it's got all these signs. It's like no pictures and like don't come over here because military stuff. So you can come over to this part, which has a little sign that says panorama.
And you can take all the pictures of that.
You can take all of it, yeah, from over here. So I guess if you had like a mega zoom on your camera, like, you know, you could get all their secrets or whatever. But we've got a pretty nice view looking out over this inlet down here, and down in the middle of it is the little town that we went on the boat from to this morning. Comija. And it is fairly picturesque looking. I like all the orange roofs and the color of the water and everything. It's like super like Mediterranean-ish European, like that image you have in your mind of that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And is there supposed to be some more military tunnels or something around up here? Is that what we heard?
We saw some when we were on the boat earlier.
But the Tito guy, this like leader from back in the day, he's supposed to have lived in a cave or something?
Up here. I haven't looked for it as of yet. I'll look for it in a minute. But
okay.
I was just getting to the top.
You were sniffing these weed flowers is what you were doing.
So there are these ladies on the side of the road, and they're picking stuff around these purple flowers. So obviously I got some time to catch up on these purple flowers. They smell like marijuana. Like, really do. Like, I wonder if they're pulling a racket where they're taking these.
There's some 14-year-olds and they're buying oregano, but it's this stuff.
Yeah, and they've just put a little bit of this in there to give it that smell. Or maybe they're putting these into edibles and telling people that, like...
Or maybe it
is really strong.
It's really dank, man.
Like, if we get pulled over, we're in trouble. Wow.
How's your hand doing? It's been an eventful, like, hour.
Hand's doing fine.
She got stung, we think?
Got stung by a bee.
By a bee.
Yeah, I put my hand down on my leg, like, while we were going, and I didn't look down, and all of a sudden I just felt this pain in my hand, and I looked down and there was, like, this yellow goop, and I sat there thinking to myself, like, maybe a bug spit on me and their spit was poisonous or something like that. I just had this, like, weird prehistoric image in my mind, and then we washed my hand off.
You thinking about that dinosaur that spit on Newman? Is that what you're thinking of?
and I saw the stinger at one point, and I can't see it anymore. Like, my hand is just different colored now. And I'm not allergic to bees, or not immediately allergic to bees, which is good news.
What about Croatian bees? We're finding out. We're finding out right now.
We're finding out right now. I mean, like I was saying, from this test, I'm feeling like I'm not allergic to bees.
Worst case, you could just rub some weed flowers on it.
I already did.
Good idea. So this giant Cadillac of a bug just landed on me. It's golden and green. It looks incredible, but it's way too big to, like, that should not fly. Dude, if that has a stinger, it's the scariest thing in the world.
It's a beetle.
Whew.
He was running from a beetle. Up at the not top of this hill is a little church, and I'll be honest, If Eric and I had walked up to the top of this and I went to open this door, Eric would have gone, no, 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 I don't think you're supposed to do that. But I came up well before him so I could touch all the things. And you can go inside. There is not much going on. Just some worship and some white walls.
What'd you find?
Nice colored lizard. He looks like a 3D poster. If you looked long enough, maybe there'd be like a lizard inside the lizard.
Just down from the base of whom there is a set of stairs, and the stairs goes up into the hills a little bit, and you end up finding this cave thing here. And the cave is significant because there was a leader of the communist resistance from World War II, and his last name was Tito. And I guess during the battle in World War II, the Nazis were pushing south and everything, and he ended up coming to the Isle of Vis and hiding in this cave. So this is like, we've been to a lot of caves where communist revolutionaries have hid, and this is yet another one. And it is quite small, and I'm not sure if there's a bigger network of them around here or not, but if you come in, you can see the whole thing really easy. That's it. That's like the whole thing. Like, this looks like stairs that go to a place, but it's just nothing. There's just like a little step up, and that's the end of it. So this was like their headquarters, apparently. And of my understanding, my understanding of the political situation and stuff in Yugoslavia and stuff is really, really weak. But my understanding is that Tito was a part of the foundation of the Yugoslavian government, and then was also part of the leadership until like the 80s, I believe. So a dude that was like in high levels of power later in his life once lived in a cave. We came up the stairs another like 5 minutes or so, and there's another dig out in the side of the wall, and it is another cave, and it's not a lot more going on. Let's see if I can get that to look all right. So yeah, it's just another hole, and it's a little dark hole that goes back here 2 meters, and that's it. Did you see in the other one, does it look any deeper, or is it the same?
It looks like only partially like a carved in chunk of the wall.
Like they didn't even finish digging into that one?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, that's not even a place to go. It's just a hole. This is pretty built up. I wonder if this wall is from back in the day, or did they put this here now?
I think they put it here now, would be my guess.
I mean, it would make a good place to hide behind things. Like if you were a communist revolutionary hiding in the walls.
I feel because of that.
Yeah, they didn't put it. They
didn't like put like an address.
Address nameplate probably wasn't here at the time. No, it's a good point.
I would say that this was good. I was a bit worried that I had committed too much time to a tiny, tiny island. But I think
we had a rainy day that helped a little bit.
Rainy day helped a little bit.
If you were interested in just relaxing a little bit too, this would be a wonderful place to do it, because
yeah,
our Airbnb was like really, really nice, as this really, really comfortable apartment and everything. And then we had this view off this balcony thing that was over the ocean and stuff, and it was a little bit away, and you had to walk through the town a bit to get up to it and stuff.
It was quiet aside from the cats like freaking out.
Yeah, there were some angry cats.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very quaint little area, and it's like a really nice place. And there is stuff to explore, and we did that on the motorbike. We got to scoot around a little bit. We found those caves, and
it's a 2-scoot.
Yeah, two days worth of scooting, and you're good to go. And going out to the Blue Cave was totally worth it and stuff. So I'm really happy we came out to this. And I don't know, did you have any other like follow-up moments or anything that pop out at you? I don't think we found any food that was like mind-blowing. The coolest thing was the wine.
Yeah, the coolest thing food-wise was the wine. I'm falling in love with Ivar.
Yeah, but that's more of a Croatian thing than a Vis thing.
That's Croatian thing, and all I want to do is eat Ivar all day, every day.
That's the sauce that's inside of those
Cevapcici
sandwiches. Yeah,
that's really
I almost got it. So we're gonna hop on a ferry here in like an hour and a half. We've got to wait for, and then we're gonna go back over to the mainland of Croatia and do a little bit more exploring. So I'm excited to see what even further southern Croatia's got in store for us.
I'm nervous because I'll be back at work. It's no more vacation now.
Yeah, your vacation has ended as of today, right?
Yeah. I had 2 work days and they were fine, but yeah, now I'm kind of like, oh no, it's not full on adventure all day long every day. It's life plus adventure and fitting it all in.
Good luck.
Thanks.
As you cruise along the coastline, you see this incredible, I can't think of the word, what is it called? Scenery, I can't find that word. Hold on to your druthers.
You know what I just thought in my head? Once in a lifetime is every day for me. That's some stupid shit. I think kyde's coming in.
Yeah.
As always, thanks to our supporters at Patreon for making these videos possible. Have a look at our Patreon linked below if you'd like to help out too. We just launched a new highlights channel this week, so you can check that out below as well.